Okay, hold on one second, everybody. Got to get these shoes on real quick. We are about to go live. This is Divorce Court Live on YouTube, but we are still getting ready in the back. Shoes are going on, last minute hair touches. This is the first time that I'm letting you see what happens backstage and behind the scenes. You're seeing how the sausage is actually being made before I go out onto the stage and sit at the bench. You also are going to get to be my virtual jury. I have my in-studio jury, but you're my virtual jury, which means you get to be a part of the drama, the trauma, and all the relationship action. So, you ready to go? Let's get this party started.
All right, stand by, everyone. Stand by. All right, come to you, Corey.
All right.
In 5, 4, 3.
From text messages to his ex to another woman in his bed, Ms. Stevens says Mr. Torres has a lot of explaining to do. And if he can't get his story straight, we're going to find out today. All rise. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding.
Hello. And welcome to Divorce Court. Ms. Stevens, Mr. Torres, I am so glad to have you here at Divorce Court, and thank you for trusting me with your relationship, or should I say trusting us with your relationship. From what I understand, a little bit about you all. Ms. Stevens, Mr. Torres, you have been together for 4 years. You live together presently. You have one child together who's a 1-year-old. And there are other children from previous relationships. But there are 3 kids in the home, am I right?
Yes.
Which means that what decisions you all make today have an impact on some little people's lives, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Stevens, why are we in court today?
So we're here today because Carlos is a lying, deceitful man.
Oh, my goodness.
And, yeah, pretty much. And I really just want to know the results to the lie detector test before I decide if we're going to go any further, if I'm going to marry him. And if he fails this test today, I'm leaving.
So if the results don't come back in a way that allows you to rebuild your trust, you're not ready to go forward. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Torres, you heard what Ms. Stevens said. What do you say, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I'm here today, Your Honor, just to prove that I'm faithful, I'm loyal, and I love Sakariana, and I want to marry her.
And so you think she's exaggerating these issues?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to be solution-oriented today, Mr. Torres?
Your Honor, we're going to have to figure out something today.
Okay, let's see if we can figure that out. Ms. Stevens, why don't you take me back to a time that I like to call Roses and Daisies time, when you all first met? And then how did we get to this point that we're in divorce court?
So when me and Carlos first met, I had literally just moved to his neighborhood. He grew up there. I just moved there. He pulled up with a truck full of kids.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm a mama. I love children. So he did tell me they wasn't all his. However, you know, he asked me on a date, and I went for it because he seemed like a active person in children's life. I loved it. With that being said, he asked me for it on a date. We did not ever go on that date. We didn't go on that date, but we became really cool. We became friends. He used to check on me a lot. He checked on me and my son.
What do you mean you never went on a date? Nobody ever went out to dinner, to the movies?
We never went on that date.
It still worked out.
We never went on that date, Your Honor.
Y'all didn't go to the park? Y'all didn't go nothing?
The park. We went to the park with the kids, if you want to count that, but that wasn't a date. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, that went on for about 7 months with us just being friends, interacting with our children.
Excuse me? They were together for 7 months.
No,
with
we
no
were just
date.
friends.
No, we were just friends, Your Honor.
interacting with the kids for 7 months. Just interacting with the kids, hanging out. He was checking on me and my son.
That's what they call it now. Okay.
We didn't make it official until after that. We did make it official. We made it official.
All right.
We had a moment.
Okay, so Mr. Torres, somehow you got Miss Stevens to be your woman after 7 months with no date, okay? I'm gonna trust you on that one. So, okay, again, it does sound roses and daisies that y'all figured out how to make it work.
Yeah.
But then you say there were some red flags.
Yes, Your Honor, there was some red flags. So in the period of us dating for those 4 months, we would break up on and off. And during a few of those breakups, so we had a breakup, and he left his phone in my car.
That was dumb. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yes, Your Honor, it was.
Yeah, it was dumb.
And of course, I went through the phone just to kind of, I mean, I wasn't gonna hold him accountable for anything, but I just wanted to see who he was, if it made sense. Upon going through the phone, I seen who he was, all right. He was texting his ex-girlfriend saying, "Let me see that booty." Basically asking her for booty pictures.
Come on now.
You know, and with that being said, you know,
we weren't together yet.
I never confronted it. I just noted it and let it go. Because like you said, we weren't together. But still, you know, it raised the red flag, and it made me feel like it was something going on there.
So,
you know?
well, at that time, you were not a, quote, couple. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor, you're correct.
Okay. But it made you feel some kind of way like he might have some secrets that you don't know about.
Exactly. I mean, he never even knew I went through his phone. I just noted it in the back of my head for that incident. That was the red flag. Another red flag was the fact that we would break up because I felt like he wasn't showing me enough attention.
But I'm confused. I thought you all were not a couple. You don't break up unless you are a couple.
No, we were a couple. We were a couple.
So are we establishing there came a time X amount of months later, after the whole pull up with a gang of kids, that you established I'm your woman and you are my man.
That's what I said. We had a moment. So for those 7 months, we were friends, and on our moment, we talked about being in a relationship, and that's when the relationship started.
Okay, do you agree that's when the relationship started, Mr. Torres?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, so now we have established that there is a date definite.
Yes.
From that date forward, were there red flags?
Like I said, there were the red flags because I went through his phone upon one of those breakups. Okay, so the first red flag started when he wasn't showing me enough attention.
Okay.
It was like little things, and I would just talk to him about it in hopes that he would change and show me a little bit more attention, but it just never happened. So I broke up with him. We stayed friends, and that's how he left his phone in my car.
Got it, and then that's when you became Inspector Gadget and noted for the record the information that you just told the court.
I did.
But there came a time when you were each other's person, if you will, and you determined that Mr. Torres does not always tell you the truth. Am I correct?
Yes.
What happened with the festival trip? I want to know about that.
Oh my goodness, Your Honor.
Uh-oh.
So this man, we discussed booking a trip. Okay, we discussed booking a family trip just for us and the kids, and he was down with it. I booked the trip, and then I told him, "Hey, I booked the trip." At that moment, he looked at me like, I wanted to go to New Orleans with my homeboys, and it's kind of like a guy's thing. I wasn't planning on.
Let me ask a question. This was back in 2023. You were going to book a trip. Mr. Torres, were you aware that she was looking to book a family trip?
No, I mean, we talked about it, but, I mean, it was nothing in writing.
Okay, well, there came a time when she said, I'm about to book this trip, right?
Yeah, I had
Did you say no thank you?
I mean, I had already made plans.
But so when she told you she booked the trip, that's when your plans, you disclosed your previous plans.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you never talked about, okay, I'm going to book a trip the 3rd week of March.
No, ma'am.
Okay, what is wrong with you people? Y'all don't know how to have a conversation? I'm married, a whole married lady. I don't book anything without asking my husband if this is convenient for him.
Right, and I did understand that, but because he agreed to it, I just figured, like, okay, his schedule is a little, I know his off days, we're gonna go to it. So I didn't lock in, I just presented it to him. And when I presented to him, like, hey, I did pay for this, are you ready to, like, do you wanna do this? He let me know, like, I don't wanna do it, I don't wanna do it. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't make a big deal about it because I wanted to respect his wishes of wanting to hang out with his friends. I didn't want to be like overbearing or anything. And I wanted to see what I could do as far as figuring out what I could do with the trip later on. Moving forward, he went on that trip. On that trip, you know, a family member called to check on him, and on that call, he was on speakerphone. He didn't know he was on speakerphone, but the family member hears another person in the background. It's like, hey, is that Susan? And he confirms, like, yeah, that's Susan, but don't say nothing. But you're on speaker. What you mean don't say nothing?
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
Who is Susan?
So, who is Susan, Carlos? Who is Susan?
Just
right, but
a
no,
friend,
the point
man.
of that ain't it though. And on that
you
trip,
mean?
I'm saying because you never considered the fact that I wasted all of that money. My money just went to the wind. We never rebooked the trip. $480 was gone. Me and the kids were.
So I'm still questioning who is Susan because from what I remember, you said you were going with your homeboys on the trip. I do listen to everything.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, there was a person that got added on to the trip because they said they'll drive. I didn't invite them. My family
But that's
member
your
invited
friend.
them.
That's
my friend.
That's his people, not the other people's
She
people.
was just present as we were having the conversation. And she was like, I'll drive.
I know how to drive.
So
I got a car.
I'm getting ready to laugh because
saying.
you could have said
No.
to your woman when there was going to be women on the trip, why you didn't say, baby, you can come to this trip. Okay, let's try to get somebody to babysit and you can come with me. Why didn't you do that?
I mean, because it was a guy's trip. She wasn't even supposed to be going. She got added on to the trip because my family member, she was like, I'll drive. He was like, cool, then we don't have to rent a car.
Your
We can
Honor,
save some money.
Your Honor, the math isn't mathing. And that's not the only time he got caught.
Okay,
caught
I'm
up,
listening.
okay?
Keep going.
There was another incident where we had just gotten back together again, okay? And we were kind of trying to bond. So we went to a bar, we were hanging out, and now we're sitting in the car conversating, having a good time at that. Some chick come knocking on my window, like, oh, so this what you doing? Can I talk to you, Carlos?
Wait, hold up.
Hey,
Somebody rolled up on you?
My point, Your Honor.
that's crazy.
Somebody walked up to my vehicle. Thankfully, I wasn't driving. He was driving. So she walked up to the driver's side. But tap, tap, tap. Yeah, Carlos, can I talk to you? This what we doing? What do you mean this what we doing?
So how did that manifest itself? So let me guess. This young lady thought that Carlos, who she thought was her significant other,
I don't know what she thought. I don't think I cared in that moment. I tried to be respectful, because listen, we are all trying to grow, right? So I tried my best to be respectful and give him a moment, like to clean it up, like, oh, hold on, you can say what you want to say right here by my girl, or go away, or babe, walk with us, whatever. No, Carlos got out the car, walked off with the girl. Walked off with the girl. So I'm sitting there like blindsided, like, okay, flabbergasted is the word that I would use. Okay, so when that happened, I gave it about a minute or so, and then I collected myself, gathered my pearls, and I got out the car to confront them, both of them. What are we talking about? What's the conversation? That's literally what I said. What are we talking about? Because how's this conversation happening without me? And who are you? You know, so he pulled me away like, you tripping, babe, let's go. You embarrassing us. We got back in the car, and we argued about it. He told me nothing happened, but I mean...
I beg your pardon? Were you living with this man at the time?
At the time.
Mr. Torres?
Your Honor, the young lady was somebody, we done broke up a lot of times. The young lady was somebody who I messed with while we was broken up. And we got back together.
There it goes.
And I assured her that it's nothing going on currently with this lady.
You told me you ain't never
So,
slept with that
Mr.
girl.
Torres, why didn't you stay your tall, lanky butt in that car and say
Ooh,
to this
thank
chick,
you.
I am here with my lady and we are back together. I don't want there to be a problem. Why didn't you just protect
Your Honor.
your lady?
Your Honor, sometimes I can do dumb stuff. I don't think that
Sometimes?
fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A lot
I'm
of
kidding.
times.
Okay. And you probably were caught off guard when
Yeah.
your
Yes.
side chick slid up to the car.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I do like a man that'll
She
tell me
wasn't
the
a
truth.
side chick.
Yeah, you
No,
called
she
her.
was a side
She was
chick.
beside something.
Okay, and she was mad because you had clearly led her to believe that there was something between the two of you. Something tells me that you didn't have a clean break from the side chick. That you did not let her know that, one, she was the side chick, and two, she was no longer needed on the side.
Your Honor. Hey. Your Honor, we did what we did, and that was it. When I got back with her, I wasn't talking to the young lady.
Okay.
So when she seen us at the bar, that's when she walked up to the window and knocked on the
That's
window.
because you had ghosted her and you had not been a grown man and just told her what the deal was. Okay, listen, if you all are broken up and you decide to go out with someone else, I'm not not gonna bother you. You're a grown man. You can make those decisions. But
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
supposed to be courteous. You're supposed to have integrity. You're supposed to have some level of character, so that you then don't have people out here thinking that you are something that you aren't, meaning in a relationship with them. Does that make sense to you, sir?
Exactly.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, that's called having character.
And
Ms. Stevens, is this something that you all have had as a discussion before?
when we had the discussion, he was not honest with me about it at first. However, like, it wasn't the only thing he was lying to me about. So
Well, I know you have had some issues because you think that he is always breaking promises to you.
yes, Your
No,
Honor.
I'm not.
So yes.
So you know where she's about to go in this.
Man, yeah.
I want to know about the baby shower because you know that
Yeah.
irritated me when I heard about it.
My heart was broken. Not only was my heart broken, but all of the family members that attended. It was a very
Tell
big
me what
event.
happened.
So what happened was me and Carlos planned for months, at least probably not weeks. So I'll say weeks. I won't exaggerate. We planned for weeks that we would wear red and gold to the baby shower. Red being his favorite color, gold being my favorite. You know, we were gonna do that. The kids were involved in everything. The day of the baby shower came, I don't hear nothing from Carlos. And then it registered in my head a few days before that, a family member made a joke saying that Carlos said he wasn't coming. When they said that, I didn't take no heed to it. However, when Carlos didn't show up, it was very obvious. My family went all out. They bought, there were fireworks, there was catered food, family members cooked. It was a very huge event. We had big old backyard bouncy houses.
I
for the
don't care
kids.
what you had at your
It-
baby shower. The man that got you pregnant should be there.
Exactly. As well as he claims that he was there for me, but the evidence shows you that I'm in that photo all by myself at
I'd
my
like to
baby
see the
shower.
evidence you've presented, ma'am.
Your Honor.
1 second, Mrs. D. Oh, very pregnant.
Very pregnant. With his
and
nine-pound
they
baby.
should be a man standing there. And she's in her red and gold outfit.
I'm in my red and gold. You see
And
the red and gold
she's
backdrop?
standing there by herself. Okay, tag, you're it. Mr. Torres, what happened?
Your Honor, we kept arguing, and things wasn't good between us. So I didn't want to go in front of her family and play pretend,
So why didn't you tell her?
because I wanted to make her mad. I'm not going to lie.
See, now that's an honest answer. So you did something petty,
Yes, ma'am.
but it's also something you'll never be able to replace, because you see those pictures? They will be there
Yeah,
forever.
Right.
And you missed your child's baby shower.
Something I have to live with.
Yeah, but that's not going to make for a long-term relationship, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're saying that you want to be in a relationship with someone, you're not going to be petty. You're not going to do tit
You're
for
right,
tat.
Your
You're going to try to work things out, especially for the big moments. At least that's what I would think. What do you think, Corey?
Oh, I agree with that 100%.
I agree with you today. I just went agreeing with you when it was going on.
Okay. You know what? One thing about your man is he will take some accountability.
He will.
He will stand there.
We'll see.
But Miss Stevens, from what I understand, that's not the only
That's
time
not
he didn't
the
show
only
up.
time he did not show up, Your Honor.
He wasn't at the birth either.
He was not at the birth of our child. Towards the end of my pregnancy, we did break up and we weren't together, but he
Oh, I'm so sick of
assured-
y'all breaking up.
Me too. Me too, Your Honor. But he assured me, no matter what, because my high risk, that he was going to be there for the birth of our child. I was in labor.
I don't want to go over it because of your high risk, because that's something that I would like to point out. As a black or brown woman, you know, maternal mortality is one of the biggest issues.
Didn't I cry to you about that?
Okay, and so
I cried to him about
we
that.
need to be very mindful of the health around a woman who is about to give birth. That's an issue in our country, especially with people with less than perfect health care and less than perfect health insurance. And so not having stress around the birth of a child is something that can aid in the child coming into this world in a healthy state. I just need to feel the need to
Yeah.
point that out.
No, you're absolutely right. And I pointed those exact facts out to him in tears, talking to him about it. And again, he assured me that no matter what, and when I had that conversation with him, we actually weren't even together. We were just having that conversation as two parents about to have a child. And he assured me that he would be there. However, when I went into labor, I did tell him when I went into labor, I didn't force him to be there because we weren't together. First day, he didn't show up. The second day, I was in labor for 3 days, Your Honor. The second day, he didn't show up. He's like, oh, you still in labor? All right, cool. The third day, I'm still in labor. I'm tired of eating hospital food now. So I call him, can you please bring me some food? I need something to eat, you know? He tells me, oh, I'm getting my hair done. There's no way in this world that you can tell me getting your hair done is more important than the birth of your child. 1, 2, I know for daggone well you wasn't letting no man retwist your hair. You know what I'm saying? So it's given you sat and you was missing the birth of your child.
So
being a
she's
female
becoming
face.
suspicious because you are not showing up for the big moments, Mr. Torres. That's really what it's about.
I understand that.
I also have, and he claims.
Just 1 minute. I want to make Mr. Torres answer some questions.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Torres,
Yes, Your Honor.
what's
Yes,
going on? Are you
All right.
that irresponsible, sir? Come on.
No, ma'am.
What's going on?
Okay, like, with the childbirth, I was just so mad. She came up to my job, accused me of sleeping with a coworker. She made a big scene. I could have got fired. That's how I take care of my kids. So
Right.
I didn't want to be around her. But when my son was born, I went up there to the hospital the day he was born.
So you're telling me that because of the acrimony between the two of you, y'all are so angry with each other, you causing a scene at work, you being petty, y'all are missing the big moments in each other's lives.
You're right.
But interestingly enough, you find enough time to get together and make a baby. Okay?
Fine, why
now,
you
how
doing it?
much sense does that make? That you can find the time to get together for intimate acts, but you are not responsible enough to care about what those intimate acts ultimately mean. It means family. Mm-hmm. It really means family.
Oh, I was aware,
I
Your
agree.
Honor.
It means relationship. It
I
means
was aware.
showing up when you say you're going to show up. It means fidelity. It means not taking a break and going over the lottie-dottie and everybody. It means family. I mean, if you're serious about it.
No.
Now, there's some couples that are not serious about it, and they just go and they hit it and they quit it, and it's good. But I don't get the feeling that that's the kind of woman you are, Miss Stevens.
I'm not. I'm not.
And Mr. Torres, I can't imagine that's the kind of man you want to be.
I'm not. I've been trying to change every day, man. I'm working on myself.
But now there's allegations of cheating.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
Your Honor.
irresponsible is one thing, but there's some serious allegations of cheating. Are you a cheater?
No, ma'am, I never cheated on her. When we was broken up, I did what I did, but while we was together, I have never stepped out on her.
So what's going on with these messages to your ex?
Yes, Your Honor. So he going through his phone again. I saw that.
Okay, Inspector Gadget, going
I'm
through the phone.
Inspector Gadget. And you know what? I don't normally just do it. I feel like my spirit got to tell me to do it, and that's just what happened. And honestly, it was another incident where he left his phone in my car. That's what be happening. I don't be doing the. It's
You
him.
know, Mr. Torres,
It's him.
your irresponsibility gonna get you in a lot of
Okay,
trouble.
it's him.
Okay, you about to tell on yourself.
However, yes, I went through the phone and we had just gotten back together again. And I went through the phone and I saw that he had texted an ex sending her a "you up" text. Now, come on, we all know what that means. You up. You know.
That's a booty call text.
Come on,
That's
y'all.
what I said.
It wasn't a booty call
That's
text,
literally
Shauna.
what I said, Your Honor.
It wasn't a booty call text.
What was it?
It was me being a good friend.
Well, I submitted those texts as well.
Let me
because
see
I
what
don't
we're
feel like
talking
that's-
about. Okay. You
LOL,
up?
okay for what? Like,
Okay. Again, you up. Okay. Yeah, what's up? You late? I was down your way. LOL. Oh, okay, for what? Getting a part for my mom's car. So, it's an innocuous enough conversation. It doesn't say that you are cheating, but why are you having conversations with your ex?
All right, like, she had a domestic dispute with her boyfriend. So they had a domestic situation, and he kind of, roughed up. So I was gonna check on her just to make sure she was good,
And you shared that. Did you share that with your partner?
After the fact, yes.
And you didn't trust him and you didn't believe him?
no, because it's his ex, and he always texting exes as when we break up. Like, I feel like it's too convenient for him. It's too convenient. It's more to this, more than just you trying to check on her. Like, nah, you was trying to check to see if she was up so you could check on her, if you know what I mean.
No, it wasn't
That's
like
what
that,
it's
Shauna.
giving.
It was not like that.
That's what it's giving.
So are you telling me that you are not texting exes to get a backup plan just in case it doesn't work out?
I mean, no.
Oh.
Once it's over with, then, I mean, once we on our break, then I do what I do. I don't like to be alone.
They be on standby.
Okay,
They
so
be on standby.
Ms. Stevens said that there are a number of ex-women in your life that you can, shall we say, check on when you need to.
So a lot of women like that still ain't in my life I can do that with, but hey,
But like,
But that's not how you build a family.
I understand that, Your Honor, and I don't do all of these things while we're together.
But y'all not together more than 20 minutes.
So that's when I do my thing. That's when
Now, according to you, there was a final straw. Now, not for nothing, but mine would have happened a long time ago. Okay, but you say there's a final straw.
Yes.
So I'd like to hear that.
so my final straw was I had picked up a family member to bring them back to where we were residing at the moment. And when I came in the house, there was, and I might have been away for probably a day or so, but when I came in the house, there was somebody sleeping in the bed, in his bed, where I normally sleep. And so when I got in, I attempted to confront the female. However, you know, he came right in behind, like, oh, what are you doing here? And I confronted him, like, what is going on here? I was just here days ago. How can you have somebody sleeping in here now? Like, what's going on? And instead of him consoling me and saying, baby, it's not what you think, he said, bro, you tripping. I don't know how you got in my house. Get out. So I was so, like, it hurt me so bad because I'm over here taking care of his family member, riding them around, bringing them back, you know. I was distraught, and in that emotion, I started to kind of plead with him, like, why are you doing this to me? I asked him why he was doing that to me, and instead of him, you know, loving on me in that moment and telling me that it wasn't nothing too major, he began to record me and laugh and tell
You were
me
acting
that
crazy.
I was crying, Carlos. I was big and crying.
You were
What are you
being
talking about?
outrageous for nothing.
Anywho's, I was crying. He started to record me, and then he threatened to call the police. So out of embarrassment, I just left.
Okay, so Mr. Torres.
Okay, Your Honor. There was a friend that I have never been with, slept with, anything. She was on bad times. She said she needed a place to crash for like 3 days. I said, if it's gonna be 3 days, you could crash at my house. I don't have central air and heat in my house, so we have electrical heaters. So I was like, you could sleep in my room. You know, I mean.
In the same bed, though, that's extreme, bro. And I was, not only was that extreme, I was pregnant. Let's not forget, I was big and pregnant when this was going on. So, like, you see that I was distraught. You never once say, calm down, baby. Like, he never once tried to help me in that situation at all. He antagonized it the entire way, embarrassed me, made me feel littler than little. Like,
So the two of you seem to have a toxic relationship, except for the moments of joy that you share with each other. Get pregnant, ready to roll. I mean, not even enough time together to get through the pregnancy and the birth of the baby of happy times. Just enough time to get pregnant and go on to the next and, quote, do what I do with whomever I do it with. That's not how to build a family.
You're right. You're right.
It's just not the way to build a family. So now at least I understand why you have suspicions as to whether or not this is for the long haul. This is also why I understand why you say, let me take the polygraph examination to say that I'm not cheating, because you have an excuse for everything. You say, I was helping a friend out. You say that when we're together, I don't consider it cheating because everybody can do what they want to do.
I don't.
yeah, and then I don't want to keep putting our child through this, you know, the back and forth, the time without his dad because we're separated, or the time without me because we're separated, because then we have to co-parent differently. So it's like the entire dynamic has been, it's different. It's just different from when we're in the house together than when we're separated. And
so let's get to the bottom line.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly,
he's a great dad.
all this make up to break up is tiring. to not just the two of you, but to all of us. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. And we are back, and it's time to stop beating around the bush, and let's just get to these results.
Yeah.
Okay? Mr. Torres, you willingly submitted to a polygraph examination, so I brought my expert in to help me in this regard. Would you ask the expert to join us, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Corey.
Good day, Your Honor.
It's nice to see you again, Mr. Yarbrough. Today we have with us Mr. John Yarbrough, a certified polygraph examiner from Guardian Polygraph Services. Somebody's about to die over in my courtroom. Please get some water or something. Mr. Yarbrough has been an expert in this field for public and private entities. Based on his extensive experience and credentials, I again find him qualified as an expert in polygraph examinations to provide services for this court. He has done so on numerous occasions, and I'd like you to give us the results of the examination I ordered, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
So I asked you to put 3 questions to the defendant. Mr. Yarbrough, we asked Mr. Torres 3 specific questions. Have you had any sexual contact with, quote, the girl in the bed during your relationship with Ms. Stevens?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And what was Mr. Torres's answer?
His answer was no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated that after the maximum number of asking of that question, it still came back as inconclusive.
Interesting.
What? Inconclusive.
Man, I'm not
What
lying.
that mean? That mean he lying?
No,
that don't
inconclusive
mean
means
all
we
that.
can't get a real read on whether or not there's deception.
Story of my life.
There were other questions. Mr. Yarbrough, we asked Mr. Torres, have you had any sexual contact with any of the exes during your relationship with Ms. Stevens?
That is correct.
What was Mr. Torres's answer?
Well, when I asked him that question, originally he said that only the times when they were on a break.
Did you modify the question?
I modified the question to read, other than the times that you were on a break. Have you had any other sexual contact with any of your exes that Ms. Torres does not know about?
To be fair, that was an effort to make sure that the question gave you the opportunity to tell the truth. What was Mr. Torres's answer to that question?
His answer was no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated that he was not being truthful to that question.
So even with the modification,
Wow.
there was a problem.
Oh, wait.
There was a third question.
Oh my God. I
Mr.
thought you
Yarbrough,
cheated
I
on
beg your
me.
pardon, Ms. Stevens.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Yarbrough, we asked Mr. Torres, have you had any sexual contact with any other females that Ms. Stevens does not know about during your relationship?
Well, we did modify that question as well.
My goodness. I need work on formulating my questions if you have to modify them that much. What was the new question?
Well, at the time I asked him that question, he also made the statement that during a break, that there had been times, but nothing during the relationship when they were together.
What did you end up modifying the question to read?
Other than the times that you were on a break, have you had any sexual contact with any other women that she is not aware of?
And what was Mr. Torres's answer to that modified question?
His answer was no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The test results indicated that came back as inconclusive as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on,
It's all
man.
inconclusive, Your Honor. The whole relationship
you know
is
what,
inconclusive.
Mr.
not
Yarbrough, thank you
inconclusive.
very much. Can you explain what it means when the test result comes back inconclusive?
Yes, we use the empirical scoring method to determine deceit or truthfulness.
Yes.
And after the maximum number of askings of that question, I could not determine whether or not those numbers added up to a truthful or deceptive answer. And that
Okay.
is usually
So he's
that
a
is
master
usually
liar.
because the response to one of the questions is so strong that it actually dampens his response to the next question.
So with a certain amount of certainty, if you will, you'll get a skewed result. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Yarbrough, that's even taking into account the control questions that you asked, like, are you wearing a purple shirt?
That is
Are you
correct.
wearing a red tie?
Yes.
Those are easy questions to answer yes or no.
So if you have a really strong reaction to one question, your physiology really doesn't have time to come back to homeostasis or normal before you ask the next question, and that will then dampen his response to that question, so it causes it a little bit more difficult to score it. And when we get in those situations, we just go ahead and say, okay, I can't say yes or no, and in this format, I would just go ahead and default to no deception indicated.
I got it. Thank you so very much, Mr. Yarbrough, and thank you for that education.
No.
I'd like to know more, but to be honest with you, I appreciate you and your polygraph examination, but I'm a lie detector myself. if
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Me too, Your Honor.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Yarbrough.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Listen.
Mr.
Listen.
Torres, there's no question that
math
the
ain't
polygraph
mathin'.
did not conclusively find you to be deceptive, but I find your behavior to be deceptive on a regular basis, and I think I've shared that with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Lack of character and lack of integrity has been shown throughout this case, and I'm trying to decide whether or not to advise Ms. Stevens to even give it the old college try. Ms. Stevens,
Yeah,
is this
no.
what you want in your future?
I'm broken. I'm so heartbroken. I don't know. I want a family for my child. I don't want to be out here by myself raising
But you
my
are by
children
yourself. Let me be very clear about this.
At this point,
I want you
Yeah.
I want you to live in the truth. Sometimes companionship is not worth the companionship. Sometimes it's better to just do bad by your own doggone self. Sometimes you might want to get up off the floor, stop being a doormat, and let folk walk all over you and start demanding respect. And stop taking folk back if you're not getting what you want. And Mr. Torres, if you want to be out here having fun, doing on break stuff when you are not in the middle of a break, then do that. But don't bring this child along with you. That's just not
Yeah.
right.
and I've told
You know,
him
that's
that.
just not right. If you're not ready to be committed, then don't be committed. If you want to be able to hang out, then hang out. But don't lead her down the primrose path telling her that she going to be the one, that you're going to marry her, that you're going to wife her
Yeah,
up.
and then I just deserve better. And I think you and I both know that. I deserve better.
So, Ms. Stevens, if you deserve better, then get better. You're only disappointed in that which you expected to get. Okay? If you want more, then get more.
He told me he was gonna give me some more.
Okay? If you want to be a wife, then get somebody that's ready to be a husband. Because guess what? It's not Mr. Torres. This case is over.
Come on over to me. Come on with me. Watch this.
Okay. So Mr. Torres thought that he was going to be Judge Starr. The box may have been inconclusive on 2 of the 3 questions, but you ain't fooling Judge Starr. So what I want you to do is get those questions in while she's in her chamber. Get those questions in, talk about the case, tell her if you think that the test was wrong or right. Do in the chat right now. And here, for my studio audience, what do you guys think? I want to see a show of hands. Who thinks he was lying on 3 of the 3 questions? Okay, put those hands down. Is there anybody that thinks he wasn't lying on at least one question? No? Okay. Well, the judge is ready to come back into the courtroom, so let's put our hands together and welcome her back into the courtroom. Judge Starr, y'all.
Hello, everybody. Lord have mercy. Okay. Hey, everybody. Okay, wait a minute. My iPad is not here. See, they're supposed to be props. Let me let you in on the process a little bit. This right here is my blingy folder that has the keys to the kingdom, all the information in it right here about the case that I prepare every single day.
Here's your iPad, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And even the iPad has to have a little bling to it. You know what I'm saying? I like a bling. But this is the process. You saw a little bit of the backstage, or as I like to say, how the sausage is made. But right now, that was a very interesting case to me. The studio audience, just so you know, my in-person jury, throughout the day, they've seen several cases. Am I correct, everybody? Yeah. Today, you got to see one of our cases, and this one was live for you, where you got to be a virtual juror also. But each case brings a whole different situation, and I'd like to take some questions that came up during the case from the virtual jury, and then I'll come in and take some questions from you all. Is that okay? Wonderful. Okay, so I have this question from Brenda. Brenda Holland says, Judge Starr, my son wants to know, what do you think makes people dishonor their marriage? Lack of character, lack of integrity, lack of honor. And that is truly it. The inability to care about somebody other than yourself. When you make a vow, if that no longer works for you, then have enough character to say, my needs have changed. That's all you have to say. My needs have changed, and leave the person better than when you found them. Don't ever destroy somebody's self-esteem. That's just mean. It's nasty. It's not the kind of thing that makes for a person with good character. People make mistakes. People rush into relationships. Y'all have seen it. I mean, half these people, they get married within 20 minutes. And if they don't get married, they move in. And if they're not moving in, they're having children. And you're supposed to take enough time to, get to know someone. And that's the problem, that right there. And then you find out later that someone has a lack of character, a lack of integrity, and they're not operating on your moral compass. And if they're not, then you shouldn't be with them. That's just it, plain and simple. Jerome says, Judge Starr, if you had to make a new catchphrase for the end of cases, what would it be? Ha, that's kind of interesting because, Jerome, I actually work on this. I almost want to say the truth is not your song. The truth is not your strong suit, if you know what I mean. Or if I had $1 for every lie you told, I'd be a rich chick. But at the end of the day, thank you for trusting me with your relationship. I wish you trusted your relationship as much as I did. This case is done. That's probably the way I would end it all. And I guess I'll take a third question. Andrea, she says, do you see more narcissistic personalities in marriages more than ever? I don't know if narcissistic is what I see more, but I see immaturity more. I don't think people truly realize what it is to be committed to a relationship. It's tough. You have to put your ego to the side. I mean, Corey, how long have you been married now?
3 years now.
3 years. And you have a little one?
I have a 3-year-old daughter.
Okay. Yeah. And she runs the house.
She does.
But there is nothing funnier than hear her say, today on divorce court. Okay?
She calls it the horse court.
The horse court. Okay. Not for nothing, but she right sometimes. Today on the horse court.
The horse court.
Okay? I think that is absolutely adorable. I mean, Corey, when you hear some of the fellas with the excuses, how does that make you feel?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. I think it sounds ridiculous to them when they say it.
Me too.
You can see it in their faces, like they don't even believe themselves.
Right, and when it comes out of their mouth, it's almost like, I know I sound like a fool.
Exactly. I didn't think this through. I didn't even think my excuse through.
And it's interesting, when you're doing it in your own home, it doesn't seem half as bad than when you have to say you've done it in front of a whole bunch of people.
Exactly.
Because then you know just how trifling you have been. So
It dawns on you.
it dawns on you,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And then also, if you're someone like Ms. Stevens that's accepted behavior that you know you shouldn't have been accepted, you feel silly. But you can get out of it. You can say, oh no, I may have been a doormat, but I'm getting up off the floor. And I hope that she will do that. I hope that she will value herself enough. So it's not so much narcissism, but it's immaturity, Andrea. Thank you all very much to my virtual jury. They didn't give me a poll today to find out whether or not you all thought that he was lying, because something tells me it would say 99%. Did you do a poll here?
Oh, yeah, it was overwhelming.
It was
Yeah.
overwhelming?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many people didn't think he was lying? And a hush fell over Jerusalem. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, let's ask some questions inside. Corey, you want to do your inner Vanna Black here? Go up there and ask
Over
everybody.
here, sir.
Okay, yes, sir.
Judge, how often do you trust the polygraphic question answers and decide the case?
Honestly, I trust John very, very much. We've worked together a lot, and I know his methodology. Just so you know, I'm actually a former assistant district attorney from New York. And I have relied upon polygraph examinations, not in the courtroom because they're not used by juries, but they're used in investigations for you to test whether or not you trust a witness, whether or not you trust a piece of evidence. Those are the kinds of things. You use it for, shall we say, investigative techniques. And that's the way I use it here in the courtroom. I asked John, who is a tremendous professional, to utilize his skills, and I don't know if I kicked all his credentials, but he's done this for many, many years for law enforcement as well as private institutions. And so we did the kind of research that I would have done as a prosecutor to pick an expert who was going to use a similar methodology that law enforcement uses across the country. So courtrooms, criminal courtrooms don't use them for the purposes of persuading a jury, but they do use them to aid in the investigation to know if they're going in the right path. And I do the exact same thing. I try to follow what I would be doing in my own personal courtroom. A little inside, okay? Who else has a question? Thank you, sir.
This young
Yeah,
lady over
sure.
here. All right.
Hey, Judge, what's
Hi.
your best advice for a happy, healthy marriage?
You know, I have been married, it'll be 9 years next week. No, I'm sorry, we've been together 9 years. Ricardo, how long we been together? How long we been married? 7 years. 7 years, thank you, 7 years. 7 years next week. My birthday is March 24, my wedding anniversary is March 25th. And that's because my husband and I, we don't want to remember too many dates, okay? But I can tell you the joy of communication, we really prefer to be with each other. It's really funny. During COVID, we actually fell more in love because we were together. We cooked together, we played cards together, we danced together, we listened to music together. We also fed our obsession with Forensic Files and Dateline and Law and Order. And when I tell you, that's how we go to bed at night, is we watch a murder case and then we argue it, okay? He's the former defense attorney, I'm the former prosecutor. I'm always right, he is always wrong. No, not at all. We really do communicate and we enjoy each other's time. I can legitimately tell you that after court today, we will have dinner. We will end our evening doing a jacuzzi because that's where we talk. Okay? That's how we talk. And then we catch up on our day, and then we plot and plan. That's really how it works. We communicate, and we love talking to each other. He's my best friend. Now, I don't worry him with girlfriend type stuff, okay? I don't replace my girlfriends. You know, me and Vanessa always will be on the phone 3 hours. And me and Holly gonna be on the phone 3 hours. Me and Sandy gonna be on the phone 3 hours. Those are my girlfriends, so I don't bother him with that trivia kind of stuff. Girl, let me tell you how she acted. You know, I don't do that because my husband doesn't want to hear that. But the important things, I don't make a decision that he doesn't weigh in, because I know at the end of the day, he wants what's best for our family, and I trust him. So communication and trust. That's the foundation of a good marriage. Right there. Right there.
Let's get another question. You, sir?
Okay.
All right.
Woohoo!
Go ahead, take the mic, sir.
How has your time as a prosecutor helped you during the show as far as the cases go on?
What a good question. Thank you so much for asking. I can tell you, when I first started doing television, I realized I've now done TV for 32 years. Wow. I started in July 1991 on Court TV, longer than, I would say, some of y'all have even been alive. And I got asked a lot because I was actually in the middle of a homicide case when I got tapped to cover a case for Court TV, literally on its first day of launching. And my boss, the DA of Brooklyn, said, as long as it doesn't interfere in your casework, which is kind of funny, like you could go do TV later in the evening, but you better come here and prosecute this murder in the morning, okay? And I realized that all I was doing was trading in one jury for another, because you are still my jury. Your opinion matters, and it's based on your personal experience. It's based on where you come from, what you've had in your life, relationships that you've had. That's why when we do something during court called voir dire, that's like jury selection. And you ask all these questions, and you're really asking to find out if there's anything in the juror's background or experience that would make them be biased against or for the case. And I'm learning all about you. I don't get to ask you the questions, but you're a cross-section of the community. And so your reactions to some of the statements in the courtroom are really the kinds of reactions that real live jurors would give in real live cases. So I've just replaced a 12-person jury when I first started in TV with a jury of millions in some of my other work at NBC News, and then obviously on CNN, and then at The View, covering cases. And then I had the opportunity to replace it again with you all as my in-person jury when it comes to relationships. Every one of you have had a relationship. Some have worked, some have not. And you bring all of that experience to bear when you come in this courtroom. I try to do the same thing. And I treat everybody's relationship like it matters. And to use what you said to me about my catchphrase, I wish they would respect their relationship the same way that I do. This case is done. Thank you very much. Thank y'all. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you, Corey.
Of course.